Today's top stories. The government hits the Communist Party of the Philippines or CPP for spreading lies and propaganda. Government employees will receive the fourth and last tranche of their salary hike. The proposed 2019 budget may soon be settled as the Senate and the House are set to meet Monday. And about 2 million households benefit from water projects implemented by the DILG.
Good day. I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The government reiterates its resolve to get rid of the Communist Party of the Philippines and its fronts. This as the military accused the communist movement of spreading lies and propaganda about the country. Here is our report.
The Department of National Defense and Joma Sison and his ilk have mastered the art of double talk, deception, and exploitation. The statement came after Sison labeled Brigadier General Antonio Parlade Jr. a brazen liar for saying that some patriotic and progressive organizations in the country are communists. The DND said the CPP, along with the New People's Army and National Democratic Front of the Philippines, are quickly losing their so-called armed struggle, with hundreds of their armed followers returning to society under the government's Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program or ECLIP program. Data from the military show that in the first 2 months of 2019, a total of 608 NPA members and supporters surrendered to government troops. Former rebels are also given skills training and national certificates for competencies they need to start a life outside the armed communities. They also have the option to join the militia and regular military units aside from availing of education scholarships. Last month, a Philippine delegation that includes Parlade engaged several officials from the European Union and the Belgian government to request them to stop the flow of funds to non-government organizations that grant financial assistance to front organizations of the CPP-NPA. The delegation said communist front organizations receive funds from the Belgian government and some European countries in the guise of marginalized and pro-poor programs. The United States and EU have declared the CPP-NPA a terrorist organization. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The Eastern Mindanao Command or EastMincom and the Police Regional Office in Davao del Sur said the Commission on Elections declaration of Mindanao as election hotspot should not alarm the public. The COMELEC has declared the entire of Mindanao under Category Red for the May 2019 midterm elections. This means that places under Category Red have records of politically motivated violent incidents that may occur during the elections due to the intense political rivalry and have serious armed threats posed by organized threat groups such as the CPP-NPA, BIFF, the Abu Sayyaf Group, among others. EastMincom spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Ezra Balagtay says Mindanao remains under martial law where tighter security measures are in place. Meanwhile, PNP Regional Office has already designated specific areas under the COMELEC's election watch list to guide them in deploying personnel. PRO 11 spokesperson Major Jason Baria says security forces and the local COMELEC officials are closely coordinating through the Joint Security Committee on matters relating to security. Worn out from the conflict brought by the communist movement in the region, some members of the Indigenous Peoples or IP called on the government to intensify efforts to get rid of the CPP-NPA in Mindanao. IP leader Datu Ramon Dayaan says he is willing to lend a hand to the government in ending the decade-long insurgency. Dato Jolito Diarog, another IP member, said dozens of their members have been killed for the communist cause and whenever they refuse to bow to the CPP-NPA. Diarog committed to testify against the group and asked the armed forces of the Philippines to guarantee their security once they return to their homes. Last year, tribal leaders representing the Mindanao Indigenous Peoples Council of Elders raised their complaints on the human rights violations committed by the CPP-NPA against the IPs. The Department of Health has called on the local government units of Rizal to resolve the measles crisis in the province through a sustainable plan. According to the Regional Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit, or RESU, Rizal had 2,737 measles cases with 121 deaths from January 1st to March 19, 2019. The figure is 7,503% higher compared to the same period last year, with 13 measles cases and 6 recorded deaths. Antipolo City has the highest number of cases in the province at 1,007 and 32 deaths. It is followed by the municipalities of Rodriguez with 308 cases and 7 deaths, Cainta with 264 cases and 7 deaths, Taytay with 260 cases and 6 deaths, San Mateo with 248 and 7 deaths, Binangonan with 188 and 3 deaths, Angono with 93 and 4 deaths, Baras with 91 and 2 deaths, Tanay with 86 and 5 deaths, Pinilla with 29 and 2 deaths, Teresa with 30 and no death, Cardona with 26 and 2 deaths, Morong with 23 and 2 deaths, and Halahala with 5 and no deaths. DOH-4A Regional Director Eduardo Hanairo said their agency continues to appeal to the private schools, the Muslim community in Cainta, and other religious organizations to have their children vaccinated. The MMDA apprehends over 10,000 traffic violators of its yellow lane policy, and a mayor listed in President Duterte's narco list leaves the country. More on these and other news around the metro from Miguel Hill.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, apprehended more than 10,000 motorists during its intensified efforts against violators of the yellow lane policy. An average of 2,000 violators per day are recorded since the implementation of the yellow lane policy last week. Meanwhile, a mayor in President Duterte's narco list has left the country. Mayor Crescenciano Enot Mahilak of Sinacaban, Misamis Oriental, reportedly flew to Singapore with his family last Tuesday. The Bureau of Immigration confirmed that Mahilak is not subject to a whole departure order and that he is scheduled to return to the country in about 2 days. In other news, the Philippine and Russian navies vowed to strengthen their partnership in the fight against terrorism. The two navies will exchange intelligence information and knowledge to improve anti-terrorism efforts. Russian Navy Commander-in-Chief Admiral Vladimir Korolyov is set to meet AFP Chief of Staff Benjamin Madrigal and Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Still to come, Malacanang releases an order allowing government employees to receive the 4th and last tranche of their salary hike. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez explains the government's preference towards loans from China. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Leadership brings out the best in us. We become the best versions of ourselves, leading by example. A leader doesn't just strive to make a living, but aspires to make a difference. Destiny waits for no one, and the choice is yours to make. Don't wish. Become.
This is Secretary Martin Andanado, and you're watching.
Alas 5:30 pa lang at tayo'y gising na dito sa Singapore. Hinihintay natin si Secretary Del Lorenzana dahil merong maagang interview sa kanya ni Rico Hison ng BBC. Naalala ko noong mga panahon na sa morning show pa lang ako na maagang gumigising para sa isang newscast na dapat ay gawin ko doon sa mga network na pinasukan ko.
Government workers will soon receive the fourth and last tranche of their salary hike. Despite the delay in the passage of the proposed 2019 budget, Malacanang released Executive Order Number 76, modifying the salary schedule of civilian government personnel and authorizing the grant of additional benefits for both civilian, military, and uniformed personnel. Civilian government personnel should have received the fourth tranche salary in the beginning of January 2019. The government continues to run on a reenacted budget as Congress has failed to reach a consensus on the proposed national budget for 2019. The Senate and House are meeting next Monday to settle the impasse over the passage of the proposed 2019 national budget. Senate President Tito Soto says the Senate is now open to settle their differences with the House and push for the original version agreed on by the Bicameral Conference Committee. Senators Loren Legarda, Panfilo Lacson, and Gringo Honasan have been selected to form the Senate's three-man panel. Soto says if their meeting ends well, lawmakers may be able to submit the budget to President Duterte next week. Farmers and producers blame middlemen, traders, and repackers for jacking up the retail prices of sugar. According to Confederation of Sugar Producers Associations, sugar is being sold at 28 pesos per kilo due to already low farm gate prices, but the same would be bought at 60 a kilo in the supermarkets. Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri says there is a need to bridge the gap between the producer and the consumer and tax the middlemen. Zubiri, who is a staunch advocate of the sugar industry, assured that the proposed liberalization of sugar industry won't pass in the Senate. Around 10 senators have expressed opposition to the proposed deregulation of sugar imports. Amid their differences, Philippines and China strengthen its tie-ups on trade and tourism. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III says this is the reason for the increase in the number of projects being financed by China under the Duterte administration. One of these is the Kaliwa Dam project in Quezon Province, which was signed during the visit of Chinese President Xi Jinping. The loan has an annual rate of 2%, lower than the 3% secured for the Angat Water Utilization and Aqueduct Improvement Project Phase 2. Despite the criticism saying the government is falling into a debt trap, Dominguez says the terms of the loans extended by China are at least 30% better than those under previous administrations. Around 300 police officers in Central Visayas are undergoing a 3-day extensive master trainers training on illegal drugs. The training, called Truth About Drugs, is in participation with the Drug Free World International. It aims to transform participants into effective communicators of information on the ill effects of drug abuse. Central Visayas has the largest number of participants on the said training. This will end on Saturday, March 23, and each graduate will receive a certificate as master trainer. Some 4,000 Bulaqueños will now have free access to primary health care services. Meanwhile, Negros Occidental showcases its flourishing livestock and poultry industry. More on this and other stories from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
In Bulacan, some 4,000 residents will now have free access to primary health care services. This, as PhilHealth distributed to beneficiaries their members' data record during the launching of Alaga Ka program at the Bulacan Capital Gymnasium. The PhilHealth spearheaded the program to educate Bulaqueños regarding the benefits upon enrollment. In Negros Occidental, the 26th Panaad sa Negros Festival is set on April 8 to 14. The Provincial Veterinary Office will showcase the province's flourishing livestock and poultry industry such as dairy cattle, black pig, ornamental chickens, goats, and other poultry animals. Negros Occidental ranked first in swine and native chicken production in 2017. In Biliran, the alleged sexual abuse victims of Father Kenneth Bernard Pius Hendricks may soon get a compensation. This, as the United States Catholic Church is looking at the possibility of setting up funds for them. The priest, who lived in Naval Town for about 40 years, has also been charged in a federal court in Cincinnati, Ohio, for illegal sexual conduct in a foreign place. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Up next, about 2 million households benefit from water projects implemented by the DILG. The Department of Tourism eyes Benguet's Strawberry Farm as a new tourist destination. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
The Environment, Tourism and Interior Departments recommended to close Boracay for 6 months.
To address issues such as illegal structures and faulty drainage systems that is affecting Boracay's prized beach.
The last time na nandito is 2017. It's actually crowded. Sobrang dami ng tao. Everywhere, makikita mo talaga bars and drinks and makalat talaga.
We had more cases of skin disease. We had more cases of diarrhea.
So nagkasama-sama lahat ng mga agencies, tiningnan ano ba ang plano natin sa Boracay, compliance on Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, at saka yung ating environmental compliance.
When they started demolishing, we saw that there was action, that they put their money where their mouth is.
Lahat ng nagamit na tubig ng customer, we collect it through our sewer lines, and then it goes through a treatment process sa treatment plant.
It was nice that it happened. Finally, Boracay got the attention it is in deep need of.
I think a lot of work was done during the closure. The water is clear, the oceans are clean, there seems to be a lot of wildlife returning. We had for the first time in 10 years, we had turtles hatching on the beach a couple of days ago.
During the closure, you could see like the eagles came back and everything that we have had for a long time.
Pumasyal pa nga yung mga kwan dito Udanding, galing ho na Cebu.
In the end, it's a good thing, yes. It was hard for us, but it was also a wake-up call.
The beach was cleaned up and is officially set to reopen on October 26th.
Wala lang na kumakain sa beach, bawal ng manigarilyo.
Gumanda yung isla namin as in bumalik sa dati na ambience.
We teach kids about pollution, solid waste management, because they're the ones who will sustain all the things that we're doing now.
Amidst the water shortage in some parts of Metro Manila, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, will expand its potable water supply projects in part of the country where there is no sufficient access to clean and safe water supply. Interior Undersecretary Maribel Sacedoncillo says over 2 million households in waterless communities nationwide have benefited from the department's 4,963 completed potable water supply projects. The DILG is one of the 28 agencies involved in the water sector with the implementation of national programs such as the Sagana at Ligtas na Tubig para sa Lahat or Salintubig, bottom-up budgeting, BUB water supply assistance to municipalities, Water Supply and Local Government Support Fund, or LGSF Water. Interior Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya called on the Philippine National Police, the Bureau of Fire Protection, and local government units to extend help in rationing water to affected communities. And in our foreign news, the death toll in Indonesia flash flood rose to 104 as of Wednesday. The number may increase as the search for other bodies are still ongoing. Hundreds of people were also still missing in the wake of the flood triggered by heavy rains. Nearly 10,000 people were forced to evacuate to higher ground, and they were being sheltered in 18 different camps. The Cendrawashi Regional Military Command opened public kitchens capable of serving 3,500 people for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. As many as 700 personnel are deployed to help alleviate the burden of the victims of the flash flood. In sports, the Magnolia Hotshots has kept alive its chances at the Philippine Cup quarterfinals by scoring a 103-90 victory against Northport. The Hotshots clamped down on defense as they pummeled the Batang Pier in the last 24 minutes of play. Paul Lee weathered past a physical game with 24 points, including 6 three-pointers. Ian Sangalang, Rodney Brondial, Justin Melton, Gio Halalon, and Mark Baroka had their own solid jobs, with all of them finishing with at least 11 markers. Meanwhile, Jeron Teng celebrated his birthday early with a win over the Meralco Bolts. Teng, who turns 21 today, made 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists for the Alaska Aces to keep them in the running for a berth in the quarterfinals. The game also marked the return to active duty of JV Casio and Kevin Racal, who missed the team's first 8 games due to injuries. In sports, Perpetual Junior Altas Athletics team finally emerged overall champion since it joined the National Collegiate Athletics Association in 1984. The young Altas Tractors brought home 11 gold, 8 silver, and 4 bronze medals to rule the NCAA Season 94 Junior Division Athletics competition in Cavite. Perpetual bested Emilio Aguinaldo College and San Beda, which settled for silver and bronze. Jeric Arzaga spearheaded Perpetual with 3 golds, a bronze medal, and the Best Athlete Award in the junior division. Junior Altas Athletics team coach Trece Academia says their feat is the fruit of hard work in their daily trainings. Strawberry farms in Benguet are being eyed as a tourism destination for the quality of strawberry it produces. The Department of Tourism, or DOT, hopes to maximize the potential of Benguet strawberries. Here is our report.
The province of Benguet is known for its cold climate, highland culture, and strawberries. And when it comes to strawberries, the town of La Trinidad produces some of the best. During the 38th Strawberry Festival in Benguet, DOT Undersecretary Arturo Boncato Jr. said the valley town offers a one-of-a-kind experience, with tourists having the chance to pick fresh strawberries straight from the plant. This tourism experience also provides an opportunity for farmers to earn income from selling berries and from the farm tourism activities. Strawberry is a high-value crop, with its farms mostly maintained by the Benguet State University. DOT Cordillera says the Strawberry Festival is set to provide fun farm tourism activities. Farmers would not just focus on productivity but also come up with tourism activities in their farms, providing tours for their tourists and educating them on how to do farming. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
The government hits the Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP, for spreading lies and propaganda. Government employees will receive the 4th and last tranche of their salary hike. The proposed 2019 budget may soon be settled as the Senate and the House are set to meet Monday. And about 2 million households benefit from water projects implemented by the DILG.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.